Hopefully, yes, mic's working. Feel free to take it off the stand. Okay, so Leigh, first of all, could you just tell us who you are and how you ended up at St Clair OOSH, please?
Hi there, my name's Leigh. I'm here today with my husband Paul and my son Ben. I have a daughter Bethany. She's at another church this morning, supporting someone there in kids ministry. I've been working here for over 2 years now. When I first started, it was in an aim to actually manage a centre that we were potentially setting up elsewhere. But as this company is restructured, I've now been put into the centre manager role here at St Clair, and Kathy Carter, who was centre manager before, is now taking on more of an admin role and is working mostly out of an office in Mitchenberry.
Sure. Okay. Apart from the fact that it's an expectation, what gets you through those gates every morning?
All right, so I don't know about you and work, but expectation doesn't get you very far, particularly when there's glitter, Play-Doh and toys to pick up. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's actually, the reason I come through the gates is actually because I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of a bigger vision for childcare and for reaching into the community here at St Clair, but also as part of Greater West Childcare, moving forward and furthering God's kingdom across the Greater West area. So that's what gets me through the gates, Jesus being at the centre of what we do. The other thing is the fact that through that we can then build relationships with our families, with our kids and with our staff, and that's really valuable in making a difference in the spot where God's placed us right now.
Good answer. Okay, I do. What do things look like now at St Clair OOSH, and how do you picture them in a few years from now?
All right, so this was a bit of a tricky question, thank you, Laura. OOSH is by very nature quite chaotic, but I think at the moment we're sort of rebuilding. We're in this time of transition where Kathy's moved out and I've moved in, and we're building some relationships, building foundations for the future. And I would love to see more partnership with the community and with you guys. I would love to see that together we work to create even more impact and more transformation into the suburb of St Clair.
And the last one might have come across as a weird one, but the OOSH Church Partnership, a marriage, parts of the body, baking a cake, gardening, how do you think of it?
Actually, the cool thing is that the New Testament talks about lots of different partnerships that we can have, and that the church is seen as a body, as a marriage, as a building, and in all of them, Jesus is at the heart of it. So I think what I want to see is that Jesus is at the heart of our partnership. I see it as all of those things bring something to the relationship that we have. So a marriage isn't totally the partnership that we have with St Clair, and a building is not totally the partnership we have with St Clair, but I think little aspects of all those things build into what we're doing here. And I love the analogy that I've just been thinking about lately, is that when Jesus sent the disciples out, he sent it 2 by 2, and I would love St Clair back to be my 2. So when I'm centre manager here, I'd love to know that St Clair Bats is metaphorically walking with me in prayer and in support and in actually investing into the lives of our families and our children and making a meaningful difference.
Nice. All right, you're off the hook now. All right, so Steve, who are you first of all?
All right. So I think I've met most of you over the last couple of years as I've kind of come in and out of different circles and been here a couple of times. But for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Steve. I'm the General Manager of Greater West Childcare, which obviously is the organisation that owns St Clair OOSH, part of Greater West for Christ. And we also have another OOSH down in Camden in partnership with Camden Baptist Church. So that's me.
Yep.
Oh, and I've been part of Greater West for Christ for about 10 years as we've kind of grown and developed that, and part of Greater West Childcare in this role for about 3 years now.
All right, so Greater West Childcare, what's the big picture behind it, and where does St Clair OOSH fit into it all?
Yeah, sure. So I was thinking I might just go back a little bit in time and kind of talk about, I guess, why we're in childcare in the first place. Like, why does Greater West for Christ actually have an interest in childcare? And I think the story probably goes back a very long way, but the story I know, about 12 years ago or so, Pete Adcock and Mark Chappell were trying to figure out, with this Greater West for Christ thing, what are the watering holes of our area? And their initial thought was the pub, because that's kind of, you know, where do you go to meet people, right, in the pub? But ultimately what they came to, and I don't know, I'm sure there were a bunch of other people involved in the conversation, but what they came to was that the local primary schools really are the watering holes of our society today. And we were at a recent, like last week I think it was, that we had a workshop on the future strategy for children and youth in Greater West for Christ. I don't remember the specific stat, but it was a very high percentage of families have a child in primary school. It might have been somewhere around 70-80% of families have a primary school age child. So if you want to connect with families, if you're connected to the primary school, that basically gets you connected. So I guess setting that kind of framework, I think about 5 years or so ago, there was, some of you would know the situation, I won't get into the details, but something that I guess offered the opportunity for us to get involved with this OOSH, take it on board under our governance. And I guess that's kind of that opportunity coming up really triggered us to say, wow, there's an opportunity here to have, effectively what we've got here is the primary school comes to you. So this is, we might not have as many kids here as you do in a primary school all the time, but across the course of a week, I think we've got about 300 children maybe on the books at the moment that would be here at some stage during the week. So it's quite, a big opportunity to connect with those children. And that obviously represents somewhere around 200 families. The opportunity, I guess, is massive, and we just really believe that this is just that missional space, the same as a primary school, where we have the opportunity to bring it onto a church site and to even provide Christian-based programs. Where we can't go into a primary school and do that other than SRE. We all know how complex and difficult SRE can be. And the other amazing thing, obviously, is you guys have some chaplains in the local primary schools, which is fantastic as well. That's. I think that answers your question.
Okay, what is something that guides decisions or determines the directions Greater West Childcare and all the OOSH take?
So I guess being part of Greater West for Christ, we are part of the Baptist Association. So Greater West for Christ is the regional ministry for the Baptist Association in Western Sydney. We obviously take on the same kind of values and direction, and we work with the Greater West for Christ executive, so we're not this lone island of Greater West Childcare just going around doing our own thing. We are fully guided by working closely with the Greater West for Christ team. And at the moment we're kind of in conversations working around how we do that a little bit better, hopefully trying to get a greater collaboration between some of our what we call community engagement entities, which is childcare, Greater West Coffee, our coach program and our chaplaincy organisation, working on a kind of a team there. But I think the heart of it comes down to we desire to be a mission field. We desire to be Christ-centred, and we desire to work in partnership with local churches and ministries. So, those are kind of the guiding principles, I guess, as we're making decisions, that's what we're trying to do. And our purpose as an organisation is connecting the local church to their local community. So we use those as our guiding principles.
And the last one is, how do you think of the OOSH Church partnership?
So it's a pretty easy one. I mean, over the years as we started Greater West Childcare, the way we've always talked about it is a ministry. Now it might, I guess, technically look a little bit different to other church ministries in terms of the way governance works, because we are our own legal entity, but the way that we really want to engage with you and even put ourselves in a posture of submission towards being viewed and operating as a ministry of your church. So if you think about how you might have a youth ministry or a kids ministry or like any one of those other ministries that you kind of run, I guess that's the partnership perspective that I take into this, and we're saying, how can we partner with you to provide the OOSH as a ministry to your community, to see people come to know Jesus and to come and join your community with Christ. So.
Thank you for coming, guys, and sharing that with us. As a reward, we're going to treat you guys to lunch. So thank you.
Thank you.